about what dwarfs can relate to.
Well, I hate to brag it to you, buddy, but we're live on air right now, so.
Oh, episode 6 in the books.
Well, it's not in the books yet, but it's almost done. We've actually got a lot to unpack today.
It's a big
all things about current news, sports, some interesting topics, but you want to get into it. You're doing a walk.
I'm doing a big walk, and as you know, I've got to walk 100,000 steps. But I've actually been processing it a lot more. I was having a big chat today with one of my clients, and he gave me some good ideas. So shout out Shannon. He told me to start off at the zoo. Walk around the zoo. Maybe not start there, but it's a good way to, because the zoo's pretty big. But if you walk around the zoo, you're not actually going to be thinking about like the steps, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're just going to be thinking about what animals can I see. Yeah. So it's a good way to just give the brain a little bit of a rest.
Never thought about it in that sense. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So the way I'm going to attack it is I'm actually going to start early at Kings Park.
Yeah.
Like get there early, do the whole of Kings Park, which is a fair trek. Walk from Kings Park to the zoo, which isn't too far because it's only West Perth to South Perth, and then do the zoo, and then just continue walking around the river.
Yeah, that's going to still take you ages though.
It's going to take me ages, but at least it's a bit more enjoyable than just walking.
If I was you, I'd just walk. I'm not you, but if I was you, I'd just walk. Because, yeah, you're going to look at animals and stuff like that, right? But every time you stop and look at an animal, it's going to add 10 minutes onto your day of walking.
Yeah, but I won't be really like looking around at them too much. It'll just be like a tick and flick kind of job.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a mental break.
Yeah.
No, and I won't be there for too long.
Yeah.
But the zoo's pretty expensive, so I haven't really calculated the cost of things.
What is it, $20?
Not sure, I haven't been in a while, so.
Yeah.
But I think that's a bit more enjoyable and a bit more exciting than just starting from Rockingham and just heading north.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start at Kings Park, do a lap, maybe check out the DNA Tower, and then from there...
Check out the DNA Tower, yeah.
Maybe go to Kings Park, maybe go to the zoo, and then head west, and just maybe scope out the Swan River properly.
Yeah. Definitely different to what I would do. Very, very different, but...
We're different people.
I'm not walking. I'm not walking.
Yeah, I'm walking to...
And it's your walk, so...
It's my shoes.
Yeah.
My shoes to walk.
No, nice. Good idea. It's a nice way to spruce things up instead of just walking.
See, I'm actually... I got a bit of excitement when I process that.
Like how you can turn something so shallow into such an adventure.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be a good day.
Yeah, cool. Well, happy that you've gone into that.
Thank you.
Another thing that we were just speaking about is, well, specifically you were speaking about it, hooks in videos on Instagram.
What about them?
Well, what did you say out there?
Oh, how people...
What do you see majority of the hooks at the moment in terms of fitness, especially with, what do you usually see?
When people show their body to grab people's attention? Well, if it's coming from a girl's point of view, they're normally showing their glutes.
Arse shot, man.
Shot. Straight to the arse. They're either just standing, facing away from the camera, or they're taking 2 steps in with their glutes just there. And
the glute training is big at the moment. So these are some big...
But you respect it because it makes a lot of money. Like people...
Well, sex sells. This goes back to one of the biggest laws of marketing, is that sex sells. Yeah. It really does.
But then what's the guys' take from that? Like, what's their way of hooking? It's generally just showing their rig, eh?
I think, like, you could pretty much say objectively that girls' main sexual asset is their butt, or at least holistically you could take that approach.
Yeah.
Whereas guys, I feel like we don't have one specific money shot type body part, you know what I mean? Yeah. Abs.
Probably abs and chest.
Chest, yeah. Like
just
big
the
arms.
upper body.
Yeah.
But people, like, chicks like dudes with good legs too. From what I've heard.
I mean, I'm not a chick.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. I think girls like arms the most, to be honest. I reckon if you did like a large scale study and asked lots of people, lots of girls, I think they'd say arms are the most important part of a guy. At least
Depth, but
best looking.
I still think they respect like someone with good legs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like they want to fill the shorts, not
I don't know. What, guys do or girls?
like girls want guys to fill their shorts.
With what?
You tell me, cuz.
You're the guy talking.
No, like glutes, like.
Yeah. I actually disagree, I disagree. I
Well, I don't
girls
know.
don't
I'm
care
not
that
a chick, but
I think subconsciously they do.
yeah.
Because usually a guy with really big masculine legs tends to be quite strong. Therefore, previously, like historically, would have looked after a woman better. A woman would have been safer with a stronger guy like that. And usually big, strong legs and glutes are, I suppose,
Are a selling point.
are a selling point. Yeah, that's the strength. Because all of this stuff and sex sells, it all ties back to essentially reproduction and safety in the past, like in the past centuries, in the past generations. Like guys like girls with really big butts, because girls with really big butts and hips tend to have better pregnancy rates essentially. So they run a safer risk when they get pregnant in terms of giving birth. Whereas girls with like much narrower hips, obviously more chance of the baby not surviving from pregnancy.
That's interesting.
And same with like, I guess big boobs is that good big boobs will feed a baby better, whereas like smaller ones won't. And then when you're talking about males, it's more so like someone had built like The Rock, you're probably not gonna. What could happen to them potentially? Like I'm pretty sure
safety barrier.
Pretty sure they can look after themselves, and a woman obviously would find that attractive, because if she did have to go through the process of pregnancy back in the day when there was like lots of alarming threats, animals, like environmental threats, stuff like that, having a pretty strong, robust guy probably improves your chances of surviving.
Yeah, 100%. But everyone's different. Like some people just aren't attracted to looks. But usually,
What is that? What's the
definition
of someone that's attracted to like personality and not looks or gender or anything? Pansexual.
I've got no idea.
I believe it's that.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up.
Is that what you're saying?
TBC.
Or are you saying that?
Yeah, like no, I'm just like I don't really look into this type of stuff, but I've seen a few reels. You know, I've seen seen a few reels in my time, and like the common one of just people interviewing people in the street is just like, what do you find attractive? And people say either their looks or their personality.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's personality.
Yeah. I wonder how much truth there is to that.
And they're just saying that to look like the good person.
Yeah.
Like deep down, they obviously they want someone to look after themselves.
You don't want, like, if someone said, oh, if you want to date someone, do you want to date someone broke as? Everyone would say like, oh, that's not specifically what I'm looking for.
Yeah. But
however, there are people who are like, I just want a genuinely good, caring, honest person, and if they are dead broke, then it's like, it's not a deal breaker. Yeah. That's not what I'm searching for. I'm searching for a good person, and then if they do have money, kudos, good, better for me. If they don't, then it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, it's pretty interesting to think about for sure.
Maybe we can interview some people in the streets.
Yeah, we should.
SJ's Chats live.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the videos of the guy that walks around to girls and he's like, how much do you think you should get a ring bought for you for? Like, if someone was buying you an engagement ring, how much should it be?
I haven't seen it.
And then some girls like, or no, have you seen the ones where they're like, how much do you think a man should earn for you to be in a relationship with them?
Gee.
And heaps of the girls in America are like, oh, got to earn like 300K at least.
Well, would be suited. You'd be suited.
Me? Oh, I got a little bit more cash than that to splash, but yeah.
Jump.
Bit of sports going on at the moment. Tottenham just obviously won probably the worst cup you can win in
Big
Europe.
Ange.
Yeah.
He won his cup.
He's sacked.
He got sacked.
Yeah.
But he lived up to his word. He said he always wins in his second year.
Yeah.
He always wins something in his second year. And he did.
No one's safe though. Like the fact, why did he get sacked is my question. Is it like, did Tottenham just think, at the bare minimum we should have been that successful.
But football's so brutal like that. Like, people get sacked just after one season.
Yeah.
In AFL, coaches generally have, 2 to 3 years, you reckon?
Yeah, at least two.
Before they're sacked? There's obviously been times when a coach only lasted a year. But in football, by football we're talking about soccer here. Like, it's such a brutal sport.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that Tottenham thought, you know what, with the quality on our list right now, the bare minimum we should have done was won a cup.
But would they finish in the Prem? Like
17th or something?
See, that's pretty low.
Yeah, it is. So then they played it out with...
Considering weren't at the start of the year, they were...
Last season they
year.
were quite good. They were like fit.
They went on a streak.
Yeah.
And they hadn't lost a game for ages.
Where do you reckon he'll go now? Do you reckon he
Perth
must...
Glory? No.
He must manage though. Like, what? He can't just take a year off after that.
No, he'll continue.
He's in his prime. And every other team he's won with every team.
Yeah, second year.
Yeah.
But he's obviously got a lot of money behind him.
He could easily just quit and sail off into the sunshine.
Big bro could just get a yacht, chill.
Yeah.
But I reckon he'll continue. Because he just has that drive. He'll want to win something big.
I'd love to like catch up with him and talk to him and just see like, all right, you obviously win. When you go places, they win. What's the processes you kind of go through at each club? Like, what are your like non-negotiables? What are things that have to get done? All that kind of stuff. Because he'd know because he wins.
Yeah, definitely. And I reckon he's the type of guy that if we met him in the streets, you ask him that question, it's like, can we sit down with you for a coffee for like half an hour and just ask you questions? He'll do it.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
We should try getting in contact.
I reckon he's the type of guy that would be down for that.
Let's get him.
Like, if you seem interested in him,
yeah,
he would be keen to give you 30 minutes.
Well, he said it in an interview. Like, he is legit just a kid from an immigration family, Greek immigration family in Australia, that played local football and managed local football and somehow got to this point where he was managing Tottenham.
Yeah.
Like, he explicitly says, like, I'm just the most random normal person. I've got into this position.
And you respect that.
Oh, you respect. And that's why you'd hope if people do get in such a big position like that, like you said, that they'd be willing to give their time of day to average everyday people. Like
I reckon he would though.
You hate when we've got people where you know that like aren't even celebrities. They like went on Sex Island or some shit, and they're not even willing to talk to their people that they knew before that because they're so like their head's so far up their ass.
They get a sniff for a day. What about people on Amazing Race?
I don't know. I'm not quite familiar. I believe somebody here has been on that show. So what do you reckon?
One of us have.
A D grade celebrity?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Do you still ride that?
F grade.
Yeah.
I often forget about it, that I went on it. You don't forget about it, but...
Oh, you'll never forget an experience like that.
Yeah, but you see stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. 5 years ago I was on Amazing Race.
That's all life should be. I'm very, very strict that all life should be is just side quests like that. Where you think back and you go, oh yeah, I did that pretty crazy experience.
Yeah, just keep ticking things off.
Yeah. So you reckon you've been ticking stuff off of late?
Late?
You went to Thailand.
Went to Thailand earlier in the year. But it's just grinding right now.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice the points, but then I definitely need to go somewhere soon and do a little side quest and experience some shit because...
Bit of a mental break?
Mental break, but also like if I back 2 or 3 of these years in a row on each other and then it's like, oh, what have you reflect in 3 years' time, what have I done? Just worked, that's it.
Yeah.
Got to have a bit of playtime, got to have a bit of experience.
You got to look after yourself. But you went to Taiwan.
Yeah, no, but it was November. It was 7 months ago.
Yeah.
Which isn't that long ago, but at the same time, I'm just saying I can't cruise into the rest of this year too complacent.
You got to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And enjoy yourself.
And speaking of looking after yourself and enjoying yourself, Serbia and Albania played probably the most anticipated football match of the calendar year.
It was a big result.
This week. This is why I love football, and it sucks living in Australia, because if you want to watch good international football, you got to wake up at like 2 a.m. in the morning, especially on the west coast of Australia. And I always pass it up, and it's because of this, because it was 0-0.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad I didn't.
You don't want to ruin your day, if not your week, of being behind in sleep.
To watch a 0-0 game. Although there was a penalty by Albania, which was saved.
Gee, that's big. What?
Which is, mate, that is
huge.
That's probably the biggest save of the year for sure. Like, the bragging rights of either country, if they won, would have been like...
Imagine that pressure of that goalie.
I'm honestly glad, low-key, that it was a draw. Obviously, I'm Serbian, I go for Serbia, but like, it's a win for both parties.
Yeah.
You know? No one gets hurt, no one...
People still would have got hurt.
Oh, they definitely would have got hurt. There's still so much, like, I feel like younger people that are Serb and Albanian, they're not as subscribed to the older belief of like, we hate each other. We're kind of just like very chill about it, I think. I can't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
But this game kind of brought back out that we hate each other type thing.
The history behind it. But that's sports though.
Yeah.
Especially football. Like, fans just hate each other.
Literally. Like, you're never going to get away with like good international football teams playing each other and not having a bunch of smashes. But...
the first time I've always heard about that. But when I went to the Arsenal versus Seville game in Seville, the one time where I was like, okay, like, football fans are crazy.
Yeah, they literally...
Stu and I were walking into the stadium, like, we're around the stadium, and there's fights going on, people were throwing things, and I was like, we're like, okay, we need to sort something out here. And because we're both white, we look English, we bought Seville scarves.
What?
We bought Seville scarves.
Yeah. Oh, because you look English.
Because we looked English.
Scared me.
And we're sitting in with Seville fans. So it eliminated the dangerous aspect.
Yeah.
And just got... But I still have the Seville scarf, so...
Yes, you should be repping it more. Yeah, the two games I've been to in Europe, I've been to 3 or 4, but the two main ones. First ever one I went to was Lazio versus Napoli in Rome, or wherever. And I went with my old man, and I was wearing my Slovenian jersey, and we were sitting with Lazio fans, and they were like, put your jumper on, like, because people are going to try to bash you.
Yeah. And
I was like 16 years old. And they said it like the most respectful, looking out for me way possible. It wasn't like cover that shit up. They were like, you should probably cover it up because people are going to attack you.
Yeah, it's good. Glad they did that, but it just shows how serious they take it.
Yeah, second game I went to was a Champions League game, Bayern and Inter at San Siro in Inter Milan. And I literally wore my Inter jersey there. I was so dumb and oblivious. I didn't even know where I was sitting. And then there was like the top tier on the opposite goal side, which was just Bayern fans. And they let off like literally 100 flares. But when the game finished, luckily I was sitting with Inter fans. When the game finished, all the Inter fans left and the Bayern fans had to wait for like an hour.
Yeah, it's crazy, hey?
Yeah.
Same thing happened to that game I went to.
Because they'll literally punch the fuck out of each other. Like, and kill each other. The English games in like the 70s, 80s. Like the hooligans were bad. They used to like wait at train stations for them to get off trains and ambush them and stuff like that and kill them.
It's crazy that stuff happens, and obviously it still happens coming from like AFL where it just does not happen.
Yeah. Like
fans get annoyed at each other and, you know, but there's nothing to that extent.
I wonder why. I feel like they've just got like hell bad intergenerational trauma over there, and they just take it out through football because it's real tribal. But that makes the game so awesome though. Like, no one wants violence, but the spirit of the games, like the energy and stuff from just like the aggression, but like how much they care.
Yeah, it is really good, and the chants and that, like, it's top tier. You can't. Out of all the sports, football's number one for fans and how much they cheer for the club. Like, compared to AFL.
Yeah. Like,
you go to a football game, then come home to AFL, you're like, it's pretty mid.
It's literally like you could hear a pin drop for some reason. But I need to get to mate. Talking about them loving and like the loud noise and stuff at games. I think the Serbs literally do it the best at the moment. Like people are sharing, like Red Star basketball games, like flares, smoke, like the stadium's rumbling.
We need to go to a game.
Their football game's good. I need to get there sometime soon. I've never watched a Red Star game.
SJ's on tour.
Yeah, that should. Oh, an SJ's football tour would be insane.
That'd be sick.
If we could just tee up with the clubs and just be like, we want to come help in any way that we can, and also we'd love to just come watch the games too, and go on a tour.
That would be sick.
Every like pro.
If any club is hearing this, just hit us up.
Yeah. I can speak a little bit of Croatian, Serb, so.
I can't, but
yeah,
I'll be both sides.
Slovenian. We could go to a Slovenian game. I can speak there, but that would be awesome. That's something that we should definitely tick off the list for
That'd
sure.
be so good.
Let's organise that, eh?
Yeah, make it happen.
Let's let our manager know about it. Speaking of fighting, this is a great segue. That dude from Adelaide who's travelling around the world fighting people, and he literally made one video saying, I'm going to fight a random follower until I get knocked the fuck out. He got knocked out the first video, and then his second video was like, I know I got knocked out, but I'm just going to run it back and see what happens. And then in 17 days, he's fighting Andrew Tate in Romania.
Growth is crazy. Like 17 days, going from, I don't know what his following was at, but now
his following was like 0.
And now it's almost at 1 million the last time I checked.
Yeah.
That's crazy quick.
And he's just been flown out on a private jet to Romania.
You just respect him, respect the hustle.
Oh.
When I seen that video, the video popped up and I was like, he said he was fighting Andrew Tate. I thought it was going to be like a doppelganger.
Like a lookalike, yeah.
But then it was actually him. I was like, that's pretty nuts.
That's crazy. And he flew him out on a private jet.
Imagine...
He fought KSI's best friend at the Buckingham Palace like 3 days before.
Yeah, that's cool. Imagine his process is like going on that private jet though. Just thinking like 3 weeks ago, I just did this video. He's probably like, should I do this? Should I not? And now he's fighting Andrew Tate.
And let's be honest, it's a dumb idea. Like he's not a genius.
No.
He's literally just fighting random followers. And in 17, that's just the power of the internet in a nutshell is that.
Yeah.
That dude's gone from literally no one knows who he is in 17 days to having like 1 million followers being flown out on a private jet to Europe.
You hope that he can just maintain it. Because a lot of times when people get like instant reward like that kind of thing, like that, it's a bit different. But remember that Hook Tour girl?
Yeah.
She got so much fame so quick. She was going on like stage and like people performing and that. And now you just don't hear from her.
But I don't even know. That's what I meant. Like, we work hell hard and we have like no following on social media. This chick says Hock Tour and she's literally like set for life.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. But then she linked up with some fake, I forgot what it's called, virtual currency, crypto.
Ah.
She literally linked up with this fake crypto and I think she's going to jail for it.
Yeah, right. Talk about a fall from grace.
I know, but this guy, like, all it is hype.
Yeah, nah, I respect
like,
it.
how long can the hype of that last? He literally just got arrested yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Fighting someone?
Fighting someone out the front of the Colosseum.
Damn.
I don't think he's going to get charged.
Nah.
Like, what are you going to get
won't.
charged for?
Yeah.
Fighting.
They just don't
Is that illegal to fight? If someone agrees on the street?
Don't know. Obviously, depend on where he is. He's obviously in Rome, so.
Any lawyers? They're pretty strict.
They're pretty strict there.
Kept telling me
I'd be shit myself though if I was him.
They kept telling me to put my shirt on when I was walking around.
Gee.
I said, I've lost 10 kilos, cuz. Give me a break.
It's rare for you to be walking around shirtless.
Rare for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, if it's more than 21 degrees, I'm probably not wearing a shirt.
Definitely.
But yeah, the power of the internet.
Yeah,
you just people.
That's crazy.
People want to give you money. You just got to figure out a way to get them to give it to you. You know, there's money out there. This dude's just showing by like literally getting punched.
He's just taking people on a journey, and that's what when people get a following, it's generally
journey specific. A lot
people want to ride the wave with them.
Yeah, you should fight him. He'll fight you because you're a dwarf.
I probably would, yeah.
Do you reckon you'd beat him?
No chance.
Really?
What? My reach versus his reach?
Yeah, but just after...
He has this one hook straight to my head.
Yeah, but he has to duck like 4 meters to hit you. You could just take his legs and just top mount, and then if you can just ground and pound as hard as you can, you might come out on top.
I'll hit him up.
Hit him up.
I will.
That can be your thing. Are we doing a bet every podcast still?
Possibly.
Yeah, you should hit him up.
Okay.
But he got kicked out of home, so he's in Europe somewhere, so I don't know. I know
Kicked out of home?
Yeah, from his house.
From doing the videos, or was it before?
I'd assume from the videos. I'm assuming his parents thought, you're an idiot, this is going nowhere, and he said, alright, hold my shit, and went to fucking...
What if he buys like a hell nice...
Dude,
like,
imagine
plane?
being his dad or his mum and you were like, you're being a fuckwit, like stop wasting your time and wasting our time. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, I'm on a private jet.
He'll probably be able to pay off their mortgage. If he continues what he's doing.
Yeah. That's a crazy, crazy story, eh?
Yeah.
This episode is powered by SJs, training, community, and everything in between for only $1 a day. Check out our free 7-day trial now.
I know you think that you wouldn't stand a chance against that guy because you're a dwarf.
Yeah.
What are some things that you would only understand if you were a dwarf? Because here I am saying like, oh, I think you got a fighting chance, and you're saying I'm a dwarf, I don't. What are some things that like me, an average person, other average people wouldn't understand?
Okay, I got a few things. First things first, just your daily activities. Like going to the shop. How good it is when you're just standing there. The one thing you need is top shelf.
Yeah.
And you just got to stand there until someone walks past. Because you don't want to like walk a few aisles, grab someone. So you're just standing there like a sore thumb. And most times, when people get to you, they're like, oh, do you need a hand? Because they obviously put it together. Like, for example, the other day, I was waiting there for someone to come. They didn't come, so I purposely went to another aisle, grabbed what I needed, came back, and the same people that were, like, at the end of the aisle eventually got to me. And they're like, oh, do you need a hand? So that's probably one thing. Just when you got to wait in the supermarket.
Yeah.
2, how good it feels when you find a good alterations person.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Shout out Maria.
Maria Serbe.
No, I don't think she's Serb.
Oh, she's Croatian.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything because I'm not. I think she might be Croatian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how good it is when you find a good alterations person. Shout out Maria, because you can go through times when you just find dodgy people. Not dodgy, but
What do you mean dodgy though?
like they're not good at their job.
Yeah. So what happens?
Or they overprice.
Oh yeah.
Well, when you buy clothes, you generally want that item.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm trying to say is, how do they do a shit job? Do they just literally not line it up properly?
Yeah, not line it up properly.
And then do you say like...
Or the worst is when they cut it too short and then it's fucked. Like, what are you going to do with that? You can't.
And do you say like you cut it too short?
No, generally just... I've had times where I just get it and I just never wear it again. Yeah, they obviously got the wrong measurements and what you were asking for.
Do you go and they like tee you up? They measure you up or what?
Yeah. Yeah, you get...
How do they do the measurements wrong? Are you saying they're just shit tailors?
Yeah, the shit tailors, yeah.
Ah, fuck them.
So that's why when you find a good one, like, you hold on to them.
Yeah.
I used to have this hell good lady, her name was Hong, around the corner from my house, like 2 minutes. But then she moved to Canberra. I still remember the day she told me she was moving to Canberra. It was like I just got punched in the stomach.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, now who I'm going to go to?
How'd you find Maria?
It was along for 3 years of not having anyone good. And then shout out Melinda, Stu's mum. She just texted me saying that there's someone on Ray Road.
Yeah.
She just had a sign in front of her house saying, alterations.
Oh, nice. Is she old?
Yeah, she's like 70. She's a grandma. She's a grandma.
Hey, good on her.
Yeah, nice lady. Another one. Well, this is it's common to me, but just another reaching one. In the gym, I often have to get my clients to reach certain weights. It's only really either changing like the attachments, for example, like on a lat pull down, or on the squat racks. I have to get the 5 kilos.
Yeah.
But it's always the first time I have a new client. It's like breaking that barrier.
Yeah. But they surely like they use initiative and they see and they're like,
oh yeah, it's chill, like, it's fine. It's this first time where it's like, I'm like setting up the squat rack. I'm like, oh, do you mind just getting the 5 kilos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. But then after that, it's like, they'll just do it.
Yeah.
But it's just that first attempt.
Yeah.
So I help you, you help me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're in this together.
I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Kind of thing,
Yeah, I get that. Picking up what you're putting down.
Another one, this is from Dan Boss.
You asked him?
Yeah. This is from Dan Boss. You meet an average sized woman, but all you end up becoming is good friends.
Yeah.
That was from Dan Boss. Shout out Dan Boss. He's a good bodybuilder, good
He's actually a
powerlifter.
really good bodybuilder, like world record powerlifter for dwarfs.
Yeah, he's really strong.
Yeah, that's something that's like, you see sometimes an average person and a dwarf person together.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, remember when we were originally talking at the start of this podcast about what's like off limits for you, what would make you not want to date someone? And I guess some people just aren't fazed by it, some people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing when Dan messaged me that the other day and I lost it. And then you're wondering what I was laughing at, but I couldn't tell you. Because I had to wait for the pod.
I can't even remember that.
Another one is, it's a bit deep, but we avoid kids like, at all costs.
Yeah.
Because kids, obviously, they're just curious. They're just interested.
Oh, I thought you meant you avoided having kids.
No.
Yeah, I noticed.
That's a whole other topic.
I notice that all the time, everywhere we go. Like kids will just, because they're like, "What the fuck?"
They're just curious.
They're like, "Is this a kid or is this like just a jacked kid or what?"
Why does this kid have a big head?
Yeah.
And so generally we'll try avoid kids at all costs whenever we can. Like if there's or the shops, if you know that during school, you go during school. But after school, you walk through the shops, you get attention.
Yeah. It's like literally paparazzi, eh?
Pretty much, yeah. So you got to think about them things.
Yeah.
Another one. I don't know.
What about that?
How good it is hanging around other dwarfs. Like,
Yeah.
and just doing all the little things like just standing, chatting to someone.
Because he's all...
Like you always,
you probably take for granted.
your neck's always cocked up.
Yeah.
So when you're just around average like dwarfs, you're just like, it's so sick just chatting.
You probably take for granted all the little things where like if you're all together with people that's very similar to you that you just can't get with like constantly being around people average size and not people the same size as you.
I still remember the dwarf games in Canada in 2017. It was like, we're in this bar and it was like mainly little people. And then there was 2 mates, Stu and Mike. They were the only like non-dwarfs.
Yeah.
And it was like the roles had reversed. Because those two were like... I remember Stu coming up to me like, I feel uncomfortable because... Not uncomfortable, but it's like, I feel it's just strange because it's flipped. And I'm like looking down to everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas you're all just chatting.
Dude, I felt that when we went to that club. Were you even there that night with me, Blair and...
No.
Literally the club, it was all the English and the United Kingdom dwarfs. There was me, Blair, Stewie, there was like 2 other average sized people and there was about 100 dwarfs. And yeah, like lads were running around like slapping me on the ass, like grabbing me, like high-fiving me and shit. And I was just like, fuck, this is what it feels. Yeah, the roles are reversed.
Yeah.
It was actually fun. But it was good. I liked it.
Oh, and then playing sports with just dwarfs is elite.
Yeah.
That's probably the big, like one of the, for me anyway, not all dwarfs play sports, so they can't all relate to that. But when you play sports with just dwarfs,
Yeah.
it's such a game changer.
Oh, literally evens the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially basketball. Because like, you just don't have to think about that height.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just getting blocked every
You
time.
can legit just shoot. Have you been blocked in dwarfs basketball?
Mainly like one-on-one for Caleb
Yeah.
and Simon, but not in a game. So I'll take that.
Yeah.
Take that to the grave so far.
Yeah, nice. It's a good W. Anything else? Anything else that like just the average person just wouldn't understand, doesn't consider?
Just everyday living.
Yeah.
Like, we use a stool for everything, like, to reach the tap. Not to reach the tap, but like if you're cooking, you're normally on a stool
Yeah.
with a chopping board. So that, just that, yeah, we get our clothes altered all the time. Asking for people to reach things. Pretty much, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah.
They're the main ones. And avoid kids.
Yeah, okay. I remember listening to Dylan Alcott's podcast with Dill Buckley. Dwarfs and fucking paraplegics aren't the same, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's him being like, he's probably roughly like the same height, sitting down.
Yeah.
And yeah, just him explaining a lot of things. The shop thing I never even thought about until I heard that.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Like, if I didn't have a fucking friends that are dwarfs, I probably wouldn't know or consider these things.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So we either climb or have to ask people.
Yeah.
Like, I climb sometimes.
You climb?
Yeah, like you climb the railings.
Yeah. Like full Spider-Man type shit.
But it just depends how sturdy the railings are. Because, like, I've done it before and you just know that if you put your pressure on that, it's just going to break.
Yeah.
But people are generally nice and they'll help.
Yeah. Or you'd hope that people are novel citizens. And
Yeah,
they're not cunts.
like normally it's not an issue, but sometimes it's obviously it's just annoying when it's a quick shot, you're in and out, but then you just got to like quickly grab someone.
Yeah.
But it's just like life. I don't really know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It'd be hell good if they could make you like average, if we could switch heights for like a week and just see the difference.
yeah, I felt that once when I was in Dan Boss's house, or not his house, Wim Boss's house, and his floor is raised. So like a lot of dwarf housing in their kitchen, like they got a false floor.
Yeah, so he's explaining a family that are like all dwarfs.
Yeah, they're all dwarfs.
They've modified their house to be manipulated for their use.
So like you step up into the kitchen, and then that was the one time where I just felt like this is what it's like for an average sized person
Yeah.
to just normally live in their kitchen. Like the bench was up to my waist, whereas normally it's at my head.
Yeah. So it was like an average sized house, but they just raised the floors so that everything was higher.
Like, I can't-
So you had to like climb up a ladder to get into the kitchen floor? Or?
No, it's just like a step. It's like it was just stepping onto a big step pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
And that step was like 4 by 4 meters, give or take.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get a modified house and then bring you all over.
How much would it cost to modify a house?
Fair bit, but you can get funding.
Yeah.
So- and then bring these over and then just
What, make
let
us
you
do
cook.
shit?
Yeah, just let you cook.
That sounds like it'll be fucked.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the psychology of quitting. The psychology behind quitting.
Yes. Can be a bit of a deep topic.
It can be. Quitting, I'm the type of person that avoids quitting. Once I decide to do something,
Yeah.
it's like I sign that contract in my brain. I'm doing it, really.
Just depends how much value you're getting from it. And like, if you quit, is it going to benefit you? Or are you just quitting out of fear?
Yeah.
So like, I think you got to look at it like that. If you're thinking about quitting something, are you quitting something because it's going to benefit you? Or are you quitting something because you're scared that it's not going to work?
Yeah.
You're scared of the unknown?
Don't get me wrong, there's been times in my life where I should have quit something. And the way you frame it's probably important too. Like the times that I should have quit something, shouldn't really use the word quitting. I should use the word like, I don't know, retreat or something.
Yeah.
There's been positions I've been in where it's, I should have bailed, but I didn't, and it was the wrong decision. So yeah, actually, like you said, establishing why you're doing the thing or not doing the thing and whether it benefits you is important. And then I think the psychology behind quitting is just, it's just fear.
Fear.
And it depends what shape or form it's in.
And a lot of the time, it's fear from yourself, like whether it's, I don't know, you're starting up a business and you fear if it's going to work, am I getting enough money from it? But then also the fear from outside noise, like your family, your friends, and they're like, oh, it's not worth it. Are you even making enough money? Like we get it all the time.
Oh, all
As
day.
PTs, like your family, and just because they care about you, and they're like, oh, are you even making enough money? Is it worth it? And so it's that fear of the unknown, and you just got to really look at it and just I don't know. It's pretty hard. You gotta.
Yeah, I guess the fear of the unknown is what drives everything,
Yeah.
whether it's positively or negatively. Like procrastination is very similar to quitting. I feel like that's a step before quitting, and like if you procrastinate too much, you ultimately quit. And I think that's just because, like you said, a lot of people procrastinate because of some sort of like childhood trauma or something they've got, or they're just like scared of potentially failing, the fear of failure.
Yeah.
And so you'd think a lot of people that have a fear of failure, the first thing you'd think of is not that they would just procrastinate heaps or quit, but that's really why they're doing it. When you're procrastinating and you're doom scrolling reels, like you're not even thinking that you're scared of not being able to achieve something that you want. You're just like, oh, I need a break or something like that. Or why can't I do this today? And it's actually because you got that massive fear of failing.
Yeah.
But you're right. Every day, at least like 2-3 times a day, someone's like saying to me, are you earning enough money?
Yeah.
Or because we live in Western Australia, everyone's like, oh, why don't you just go to the mines?
Yeah, the outside noise, eh? And then you take that on, and it's why a lot of people do quit.
Yeah.
Of whatever they're doing, but quitting can also be beneficial.
Yeah, that's exactly. It depends. You got to like figure out a way to navigate the situation properly. You got to figure out what you're doing or not doing, why you're doing that, what benefits do you get, what negative impacts derive from it, and then make like a good formed decision on what you're doing.
Yeah.
For example, someone that's like on I don't know. Like, let's take an example of someone on a diet and 2 different examples of it. You could have someone on a diet that's like trying to lose weight and improve their mental health, and so they're on like a calorie deficit, or just like not eating any mass-produced food, and then they quit after like 3 weeks because it's too hard.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, looking at that scenario, that is not the type of quitting that you could accept really, because they're quitting because it's difficult.
Yeah.
Something that is beneficial for them to do, they're quitting just because it's hard. Where you could look at somebody that's like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, an abstract one, like say a sports person who wants to lose weight for their sport, and so they're in a calorie deficit, and say they're like reduce the amount of carbs they're eating or something, and then they go, oh shit, my performance is tanking heavily. I am losing weight, but at the detriment of my performance. So would it be the right thing to do to quit this diet? And in that situation, see, there's 2 situations where you're talking about quitting a diet. The athlete, probably a good idea to quit the diet if it's detrimental towards your performance. The person with the main goal of becoming healthier and losing weight, quitting because it's hard, probably not the right thing to do, is quit in that situation. Like, you quitting is just stopping just before you get that growth.
Yeah. Are you quitting out of fear, or are you quitting because it's too hard? And that's, you just got to ask yourself, like, if you're thinking about quitting something, why?
Yeah.
Are you quitting because you're finding it too hard, even though you do see that if you do push through, the results would be great? Keep going. But if you're quitting because, like, I'm a bit scared, and, you know, the unknown people telling you things, it's just, you just got to process it properly.
Yeah. I think a lot about this term called like dream killers, which is like what you're talking about when you're trying to grind and people are saying to you, oh, just go work in the mines. Like, go work in the mines, you can earn like 140k a year, you get half the year off, like it's so much easier, just do it.
The easy way out.
Dream killers. It's like, especially, I know that you've got like specific goals, right? And they need to be specific and attainable and stuff like that. But I hate when kids say they want to do something and an adult's just like, oh, can you just make that like more realistic? Like, how realistic is it for you to become like a footballer or something?
So that instant negative, like,
and it's like, well, they're fucking obviously not. If they're not going to become a footballer if you tell them they're not. Like, of course they're not.
That's what that saying, like, people is like, what you want to be, surround yourself with those people.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's also, people should quit things. It's like when people have a stable job and they just keep going, but they're not happy.
Yeah.
They just keep rocking up the same 9 to 5. They're not happy with where they're going. They're waking up like, another day of work. It's just like brain rot. And they're thinking about what they could be doing, but it's that fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
It leads them not to quit.
Yeah. I can think of a few situations where, like 2 situations I can think of in my past where I did quit and I didn't quit and I regretted it almost. First one was when I worked the job at the council, which like, it's not the dream job, but like I could have easily worked that job forever, no problems. I didn't mind it that much. Obviously with any work, like some days are hard, some days are easy. I earned a cushy enough wage where I was like very comfortable. People around me were like, oh, you have such a good job, like you do like awesome work. You're never like under the pump too hard. You get like rostered days off every fortnight. But even though I was going to work and I was like, I can do this, but I know that like I need more. Not more, but I know what my goals are, and me working this job is not like heading closer towards those goals.
Yeah.
And that's a time where I quit, and I just thought like, fuck, I should have quit earlier, because
All you can do in that situation though is just learn from it.
well, yeah, honestly, I don't regret the time I quit, but at the time I was so anxious about quitting, and now looking back on it, I'm like, fuck, why did I not quit? Why was I anxious firstly?
Yeah.
And secondly, why did I not bail earlier? But
it's that unknown.
So that's a situation where I'm happy that I quit. A situation upon reflection where I probably should have quit but didn't was this year I had of footy, because I obviously had this last 4 years off pretty much. And the last year I played before then, I was probably like the best I ever was. Objectively pretty good as well. I think I was like 2nd or 3rd leading goal kicker in the comp. And then my coach dropped me this 1 week.
Yeah.
Just like really sporadic. I think I might have had a bad game, but I don't know. He just said I lacked confidence or something, which I found hard to believe.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, whatever, I'll keep showing up. Because like I said, I'm the type of person where it's like I make a decision that I'm doing something for a year. Like I'm doing it for a year. And that year of footy was like the most mentally draining 6 months or like 4 months I ever had in my life. That was probably the closest I've ever been to like literally being depressed.
Yeah, right.
I just continued to rock up because I thought it was the right thing to do. Just mentally became worse and worse and started like was really sad for months on end, like really upset, just such a negative mindset. And upon reflection, and then it made me resent footy and everything so much that I didn't play. It was the thing that like I revolved my life around that I love so much.
Yeah.
And it was such a bad experience that I literally was like, no, I'm not. I don't even want to play it anymore.
And then you did the complete opposite today, because you didn't play for a few years.
Yeah, didn't play for like 3 or 4 years. And upon reflection, that is a situation in which I didn't quit. But holistically looking at it, looking at it now, I would have quit that like 2nd or 3rd week after starting to see like my mental health deteriorate. And I wouldn't be upset about it now because I would look at it and think like, yeah, that would, I don't know why I did that.
You did the right thing.
Yeah. I thought I was doing the right thing by like...
Keep having a crack.
Yeah. But...
It's hard. It's a hard one though, because like, say if you, as you did, kept going, and then, you know, if things did turn around, you could easily be like, oh, so glad I stuck at it.
Yeah.
It's such a hard... Life isn't easy.
And that's the thing. Yeah, you could, like... As long as there's light at the end of the tunnel, then you give yourself a reason. It's like, okay, I'm not quitting because potentially this can happen, really.
I remember, so I used to work, obviously, in like a 9 to 5. Great job, great workplace. And then when I was thinking about becoming PT, I was like, it was that, do I do it or don't I do it? And then James Smith put up a thing where he was in a similar boat, but then he thought, like, I could quit my job, give PT a crack. If it doesn't work, go back exactly what I was doing, and that's exactly what I did. Like, I wasn't earning great money, but I was pretty happy with where I was.
Yeah, and comfortable enough.
And I was comfortable, and I was just in a position where I was like, I could just keep doing this, but I wanted to try to challenge myself, and that's kind of what I've done. It's obviously been a grind, but I'm glad I've done it.
Yeah.
And that's opportunity. That's a decision when I quit. I quit that job to start this.
Yeah. That ties back to like the dream killer thing that I hate, because how easy is it when you hear him say, oh, you can literally just go back to what you were doing, but then you'll have people in your life that are like, no, don't quit, like, no, just don't risk it, and then you start to get anxious and like, oh yeah, I really shouldn't risk it because I'm in a good position and all that, when you just need someone to tell you like, dude, fucking risk it, and then you can literally just go back to that job.
Every person that's made it risked it, didn't they? Like James Smith did.
Yeah, unless they were just born into richness.
100%, but a lot of people who do a startup of some sort have risked some sort of thing.
Yeah, you gotta pull the trigger and risk it. So yeah, that comes back to like the way you frame the situation when you quit something. Like, are you quitting something, or are you opening up the opportunity to something that you want more?
Yeah, you just got to really break it down and get a good understanding of what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, you just got to look at the situation. You just got to look at the situation holistically and like logically as well.
Yeah, and it's good taking feedback from others.
Yeah,
but then you can also, like, whether it's positive or negative, take it on, and then kind of.
But there's definitely, see, this is the way you frame it. There's definitely times where you just shouldn't quit shit either.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, even say like a athletic feat, there's times where you should quit and you shouldn't. Say like, if your life's in danger or something like that, probably okay to quit because you don't want to die.
Yeah.
What's the point in doing something if you literally die? But then there's other times where you're just on the bones of your ass, you're just barely surviving, but you know you will survive, where you could quit and you should just not quit and you should just fucking knock it out.
Yeah. If the light's there at the end of the tunnel, keep going.
Yeah, may as well go there, see what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be thinking about when I'm doing my 100,000 steps.
Well, you're not. You're going to be thinking about zebras and shit at the zoo.
Yeah. No, I'll be thinking about that when I'm splitting the G.
Yeah.
At 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah, I think physical feats are like such good opportunities to work on this. The things like quitting.
100%.
Because you can really get in a fucked position when you do some crazy physical feat, and then that's where you can just think about the situation holistically and the approach you can take, and you can think. I always think Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm not going to die if I'm
yeah.
Like when I did those 200s earlier in the year, so unprepared, I was fucked, and I literally couldn't even put weight on one leg. But I was like, I'm not going to die, and I'm not severely injured,
and you'll be able to recover.
I just got to figure out a way to get through it. Whereas you'll get a lot of people who are a little bit less mentally resilient, and they'll just take that opportunity and they'll quit.
Yeah, generally find an excuse for it.
Yeah,
as to why they're quitting, to make themselves feel better for it. But if they want to grow, you just got to realize that they got to push through that.
Yeah,
and you just got. I think if you're ever going to quit something, whether if you're talking about physical aspect, like just ask yourself, is it going to affect me if I quit now? Like, am I going to be happy with myself?
Yeah.
Am I going to feel good for it? Am I going to accept that I did quit? Or should I just write it out? Because 9 times out of 10, you should just write it out.
As long as you try if you try your best at something, there's no way that you can be upset at yourself if it doesn't
if you can accept with what you've done, and as soon as you quit, you're like, okay, I gave it my best effort. But if you know that you could have given more, don't quit.
Even with those 200s, the closest I've been to quitting something, and like I literally couldn't put weight on my knee. It was agonising pain. And there was one moment where I was thinking about it and I was like, I can't put weight on my leg. I literally can't run. If I quit now, I can't run. I can't continue the actual challenge.
Yeah.
But this is why I literally bang on so much to people about being uncomfortable and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Because in today's modern society, we're just so fucking, it's just such easy living. Such easy living.
Yeah.
Like the hard part of your day is like working when you're in like
or getting out of bed.
Yeah, you've literally got like food, water, shelter, warmth if you need it. You've got all these like areas of the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got all that shit, and that's the hardest part of your day. And then when something bad happens to you and you handle the situation poorly, you're like, oh fuck, I can't do this. Why can't I do it? Because you haven't done anything in like the last 5 years uncomfortable.
Anything remotely hard.
You've not spent any time doing anything comfortable or hard. So why on earth, when something hard happens to you, are you surprised?
How often do you think people should challenge themselves to do something hard? Like,
I believe it's called an ikigai. Is that what it is? The Japanese term? Let me quickly look it up.
I think doing something once a week that makes you feel uncomfortable can go a long way.
Yeah, so the Japanese have a term called ikigai, and it's a concept that translates to a reason being or a reason to live. And so once a year, they'll do something that's just extremely difficult, like extremely, extremely challenging, but you're not going to die. Yeah, and it's cool. Like a once a year reset where they do it, they get through the whole experience, they come out stronger the other side, and then they're better prepared for when something fucked happens in the future.
Yeah, I respect that.
So that's
the way to live.
I try to do that once a year. I try to do something really crook, which it honestly builds resilience and stoicism.
It does.
It really does. Sometimes things happen to me nowadays, and I think if that happened to me 5 years ago, that would derail my life. And now it's just another day.
Yeah.
And I can attribute it to that a lot. And I've got so many friends that complain about, you know, being depressed, feeling depressed, like feeling like they're the victim in the situation in life, or like going through an experience that's so hard, and they're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how I can help the situation. Work on it. Not when it's not happening, that's when you work on it. That's when you work on accepting uncomfort, if that makes sense. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
no, definitely. I just think that doing stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable can make you just live such a better life.
And I just can't stress enough, if you never expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, why on earth do you think you're going to deal with an uncomfortable situation well when it happens? And it's against your will. It's not, you're not choosing to do it, you're going through it.
And people can start, like, if they want to do stuff that's uncomfortable, they can start so small. Like, that's not going to have any effect on them, like, really small. Like, going up to a stranger and asking how their day is.
Yeah, literally. Me eating without listening to music or watching anything, that is literally fucking uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It is hard, like, don't get me wrong, it's hard. But
it's something that you can easily do.
Something you can easily do, and just some discomfort you can deal with, which actually has quite a positive impact.
Yeah. It can go a long way.
But the ikigai is something that I follow, the concept of that.
That is a cool concept. Do they do that? Who is it? Like,
it's like a group of Japanese people specifically. I can't remember who, but
I've actually been thinking about that because I've done the Roto swim as a duo, not a single, but I was like, what's next? Like, I want to do something that's hard, especially physically. And I'm just trying to think. Obviously, I'm doing the 100,000 steps.
100k steps will be hard, probably.
But that's going to be pretty hard, but it still doesn't feel like it's enough for me. I don't know, I want to do something. That's like a challenge. I'm trying to think about something.
I can think of something for you if you want, but
what?
Well, you need to give me a bit of time to think.
Okay.
But you feel so good after these things as well.
Good.
Like when you are faced with serious adversity and you don't bail and you just fucking grind through it, when it's done, you never think, I feel shit, that was a waste of time. Yeah, you just feel completely euphoric and relieved and happy that you did something like that. You never feel shit.
Oh, you always feel good.
Even if you're fucking on the bones of your ass, like you're in literal physical pain, you never think, oh, I regret that. You'll never regret pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, 100%. And that could be anything. It could be, like, you can just gauge that from something so big to even such a little thing like, I don't know, having a cold shower.
Yeah.
You feel how good from after having a cold shower. Or with work, like sometimes when you just can't be bothered, like sometimes I can't be bothered doing a social media post, but when you do it, you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, I feel guilt. Like, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
But then if I just grind for 20 minutes and do it, you feel better about it. Feel better about yourself.
Yeah. So, yeah, moral of the story is don't be a quitter, but there's times where you should probably, for your own health and well-being, bail from a situation.
You just got to weigh out the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And what would you get out of it?
Yeah, definitely.
A quick word from our sponsors, us, SJs. We train, talk shit, and help you move better. You can do the same by checking out our 7-day free trial in the show notes.
So if you could work for one company, what would it be?
I'd like to work for someone who's built something. For example, Mr. Beast.
That would be sick. That's actually...
Because he's got a company, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I'd love to do that. Like, rather than, I don't know, I'm not really appealed to working for like Apple or...
So you appeal more to working for somebody specifically that has like a organisation more so than like working corporately for a corporation that doesn't really have like a head honcho, and it's like very, not industrialised, it's very like corporalised, if that makes sense.
Pretty much, like, I don't know, I think it'll just be a better work-life balance.
No, dude, working for Mr. Beast would be fucking sick,
like,
I reckon.
And it'll just be cool to see him cook.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously a dude that's gone from a nobody to someone, just through work ethic, etc.
Yeah.
Like, when I was younger, I wanted to work for Eagles. Like, that was my dream job. Like,
doing
just
what?
work. I don't know, anything. Just work at the Eagles, and obviously now you could say like S&C, but I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't appeal to me as much.
What about working in merchandise for them? You know the little merchandise stalls they have outside the
Yeah, that'd be
stadium?
sick. Nah,
Would
it does
you do
nothing. Nah.
But would you have wanted to do that when you were a kid?
Because I wanted to work for Eagles doing anything, but then as I grew up, I was like, I think it would affect my love for the club.
Yeah.
Because like I would be like, oh, I gotta work. And then I remember one time there was a job going at Eagles, and I looked at it, and it was like, you gotta work game days, and that just put me off.
Yeah. I worked for Freo on game days. And it actually...
Yeah, but I think you were a bit younger though, eh? Like,
I
imagine
was like 17, yeah.
if it was your full-time job.
No.
So the appeal isn't there compared to working for Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast would be awesome. I don't know.
What about you?
It seems like he treats his employees well. I mean...
To be honest, I've never actually watched a proper YouTube video of Mr. Beast.
You haven't? I've watched him.
I've watched his shorts. I've watched some like 10-minute ones.
Yeah, you need to watch them. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally studied YouTube long-form content more than anybody ever.
Well, makes sense. He's bloody good at it.
He's the best at it by like a billion miles. It's
what about you? Who would you?
Red Bull. Red Bull would be mine.
Red Bull?
It's always been mine. Yeah.
Pretty cool there. I love their strategy behind Instagram or all their social media.
Yeah.
The marketing. Like, you notice on the Instagram, you never see the videos that pop up like drink a Red Bull. It's just all their videos are like experiences that are sick.
Yeah. They've literally got marketing down to a T. You literally relate Red Bull with sick shit.
Yeah. I remember not until like someone put up a video of like why Red Bull do that, and I never really thought about it like that. That's so sick.
Yeah, because you just think of good shit when you think of Red Bull.
Yeah. You think about like all the stunts they do.
Yeah.
People jumping out of airplanes.
And that's why I'd love to work for them, because that's all I think about. And I think, oh fuck, it would be sick to work for them. I know a few people that work for them, and they love it. They reckon they get treated really well.
That's cool. Doing just like random things?
Just like marketing and a bunch of other shit like that, but they really do like it.
Yeah. Red Bull would be sick.
That would be so good to work for them or be sponsored by Red Bull in some sort of fashion. That would be awesome. I reckon that'd be the best sponsorship you can get.
If you're listening to this Red Bull, two blokes out here just having a crack.
I'd love to go to your high performance centre in Austria. That would be.
Is it good?
I've never been, but
yeah,
like Petrarca and Boak and loads of athletes go there every year. It's in Austria, near Slovenia as well, so it would be absolutely beautiful. The dude that invented Red Bull's half Slovenian, I think.
That's pretty cool.
He's like Austrian or maybe...
Is he still alive? How old?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Red Bull's been out for quite a while now.
Probably like 30 years, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a sick job. And to go to that high performance... I will email that high performance centre and just say, like, can I come scrub your floors and just check it out?
That'd be cool.
Hopefully they say yeah.
I still remember the ads from when I was a kid.
The gives you wings.
Oh, so iconic. Like,
see, that's the only time they ever actually advertised Red Bull, and that's because they came up with that slogan, it gives you wings.
I still remember when I was younger, like, I watched one of the ads. I asked my parents for Red Bull because I wanted to fly.
Works well.
And then they kind of explained, like, I wouldn't actually be able to fly from it.
You should start doing wingsuiting. You should be the first dwarf to wingsuit.
Pretty scary, but...
Yeah, that's the point. 1 in 500 people die doing it. 1 in 500 flights are a death. From a statistic I saw not long ago.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that.
You're scared?
Yeah. So that's one of them things of like...
That's
the fear, but it's like, it's probably not a good decision.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'd love to do it, but I don't know. I feel like I don't want to die. So that's the main point probably.
Yeah, so...
Any other companies that I would love to work for? Red Bull's the only one that historically I've really wanted to work for. Besides them, I don't know. I'd love to work for like a professional sporting club.
Yeah, sporting club would be cool. It'd just be tough, like, working if someone's like the deadlines and stuff that you got to do, like, because you're working for the club.
Yeah.
Doing whatever. If you're doing SSC, like, there's so much pressure. There's so many things that just out of your control. That's what would be the hard part. But it'd be obviously such a cool experience.
No, definitely would be.
Imagine going like a Champions League game day.
And being on the sidelines.
You're just on the sidelines, like you're part of that.
Yeah. Flares everywhere.
Or just like imagine the wake up, the morning of game day, going to get a coffee with one of the star players.
Yeah.
Like, how sick would that be?
Even playing pro sports would just be playing for Barcelona would be insane.
I'd love, if I was playing professional sport, the feeling of getting a coffee on game day.
You always talk about that. Why? What specifically about that?
I don't know. It just feels so good. Like I enjoy coffee.
Yeah.
So the thought of like, I don't know, that my day's planned, I'm going to play sports. Like I love playing sport. So it'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be cool.
The vibes would be up. The energy would be there. You're just having a good time.
Yeah, it would be. The only problem was you'd probably just be thinking, fuck, like, I need to perform really well today.
If you're in a bad state.
If you practice your craft so much, you probably won't be too worried about it.
I'm talking about if you're in a good headspace where, like, you're feeling good, you're playing good, life's good. We're just going to enjoy coffee on game day.
What pro club if you could be a pro athlete, what club would you play for in the world? And what sport? I would definitely be Barcelona. I don't go for Barcelona, but...
I've always had the connection of footy as an AFL.
Dude, who can... Man.
But then, can you...
Like, imagine going and playing in Bunbury in front of, like, 12 people and then playing at, I don't know, San Siro in Italy in front of, like, 90,000
Real
people.
Madrid would be good.
Yeah.
Imagine playing for Real Madrid.
That'd be crazy. You're that guy if you play for Real Madrid, you're that guy.
Like, just imagine the crowd, the resources your club has. It'd be insane.
Yeah. That would be so good. Or maybe like a pro-American team.
Yeah, it doesn't appeal to me as much though. It would be, obviously it'd be so good.
In the NFL, that would be sick because you would just literally have to perfect your craft. You could just become like an awesome quarterback or an awesome like...
What about like
wide receiver?
What about like the kickers who like only come on for like 20 seconds of game time?
Nah, I wouldn't want to be that because that is so stressful.
Can you imagine? Because you're just thinking about the whole game you're just like, okay, if I come on, like I got to do it right. Because I'm only on here for 20 seconds, like.
Whereas if you're like a wide receiver, you just got to run the right routes, and then if the ball gets to you, it gets to you. Like,
and if you stuff up, at least you're like, okay, I'll go to the next play.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a kicker, like you've only got a kicker or punter. Which one's a
Punter?
They get more game time though, because they get.
Yeah.
Whereas a kicker, they want to come on to like the field goal, eh?
Yeah. If I could go back in time, I would play NFL. And I'd probably try to be like a wide receiver because I just reckon that would be so sick.
You should play for that. How about one time you should do a season for that Rockingham club?
It's a season of my entire life.
I mean, yeah, but like just do the preseason and then just play one game and then just pull the pin.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a preseason. I'll happily go and message them and say, hey, can I play a game? And then I'll probably have 6-7 touchdowns. They'll probably
Offer you
go to
cash.
like Kansas University or something.
That'd be cool though. Matt, you should just go down and play a game. Or vlog it.
Yeah, I will. I'll message them. That's a good idea.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I will. They don't play until off season though.
In our summer.
Yeah, I just couldn't be bollocks.
Shit, that'd be hard. Imagine a 40-degree day.
Yeah, it'd be
And
fucked.
you're padding up.
I literally couldn't be bollocks waiting. Like, defensive teams in for 5 minutes.
It would ruin the.
chill
It would
outside.
ruin the like the fun side. But I think, to be honest though, here in Rocco, like, do they even have enough players for like?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I wouldn't be surprised if the offensive line is.
Oh
going
no,
on for
a
the
lot of them are
defensive.
mixed sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're really good, you can play both. But I don't. I'm good at sports that are like
You're a good mover.
fluid, like it doesn't stop. I'm really good at sports that are continuous because I kind of like get in the zone. Whereas sports that are like are very stop and starty, I can't really get into like the swing of things.
Yeah, it takes a while to build it up.
Yeah. Forgot what the word's called for the thing, but flow state.
Close to it.
Love flow state. There's no better feeling in the world than flow state. Literally, it's orgasmic as, man.
Yeah.
When
Feels good.
10 minutes go by and you've just like kicked two and had an assist and you're not even thinking about it. And you're just like, everything's working right now.
Yeah.
If you could just get
You're
flow
not
state in real
worried
life,
about anything.
literally, you just,
It's like when you go to flow state of work.
yeah, so
When you work
good.
for 1 or 2 hours and you're like, you've done so much. And
Yeah.
you feel so good about yourself.
That was me when I had 5 beers on Saturday night and just flow stated for
And it
3
always
hours.
comes in the most random, like,
Yeah, it never
you
comes
could
when you
plan,
want
like, you could say, okay, I'm going to work from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and it'll go to shit.
It'll just be fucked, yeah.
Whereas, like, you wake up early one day for a client, they cancel, and then you just get into a flow state of work.
Yeah. I wish I could just flow state all the time. It shits me to tears that I can't. It's the biggest frustration in my life that I can't just go, I've got 2 hours, I'm just going to work for 2 hours. It just never works that way.
So I've kind of learned recently that my flow state comes in the morning,
Yeah.
like early morning.
Well, that's when you've got like the most energy, the most creativity, stuff like that is in the morning.
Yeah, but it just means I've got to wake up early. And then obviously if I don't have clients, like a lot of the time it's when we have clients. But, so now if I don't have clients, I'm waking up early.
No, you do.
And just grinding.
Yeah. It's a good idea. It's the right way to do it.
Chomp, chomp.
This pod is powered by SJ's Community, where lifting, laughing, and living better all collide. Check out our 7-day free trial via the show notes or in our Instagram.
Fancy wearables are the big thing at the moment. Like, if you don't have a Whoop or something like that,
Or a Garmin.
then you're not athletic and you suck at life. So, personally, I think that they're very overly emphasized. I think,
I agree.
yeah, they're just, people are just so reliant on, like, I've seen it the most at footy. People get through like a warm up and they'll go, "Oh, my watch wasn't on," and they just
Yeah, they
freak
get how
out.
annoyed.
It's like, grow up, cuz, come on.
That just, you know that you've been working.
Yeah, and so obviously they monitor recovery really well. How do you monitor recovery without a wearable?
Ask yourself how you're feeling.
Yeah, literally. Have a bit of initiative.
Yeah, just like tick the boxes of recovery, of getting good sleep,
Yeah,
eating well. If you feel like move. If you feel like I don't know, your legs are a bit sore and you just feel like rest is the best thing, watch a movie.
Yeah.
It just honestly, just ask yourself how you're feeling and then do your best thing for that.
The worst thing with wearables is when someone will wake up and their Whoop score will be like 10 and it like, basically, yeah, the worst thing that happens is when somebody wakes up and their wearable says like, oh, you're at a 10 level of recovery, so you feel shit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I'm not going to do anything today because their watch told them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they
placebo,
feel.
eh?
Yeah, they didn't
Like-
use any initiative themselves. They literally just looked at their watch and they were like, that's me done for the day.
Legit, I used to have a Garmin for when I used to track my swimming. And then I often like sometimes accidentally fall asleep with it. And I wake up and I'm like, your body battery is 3. But I've had like a good sleep, like 7 to 8 hours. I feel good. I never went against it. Like I never kind of believed it. But I can see how so many people like, will just ruin it.
Yeah.
Ruin how you're feeling.
But if you literally can't ask yourself how you feel and navigate a situation like that, even like if it says, oh, you feel so, it's like you have a score of 100 today and you're sore as shit, you're absolutely knackered, it like, why would you chase after it?
Yeah.
You know?
What are you
Just 'cause
getting out
the
of
watch
it?
told you.
Yeah. Like so many people would skip like a session, whether it's like a cardio or a strength session, purely based on their watch.
Yeah, it's not good. Some other ways you can probably monitor your recovery, or at least the way you're feeling, is testing. Obviously, testing is a good one. And that can be something as simple as you run through your usual warm-up and is the intent high? Are you really sore? Stuff like that, just really easy. Like if you go through a warm-up and you're like, I'm feeling good, the movements are feeling good, I've got high energy,
Yeah, push it.
probably push it. If you go through a warm-up and you're like, joints are feeling sore, like I'm really struggling to get up and about, then yeah, probably be cautious going into your session and maybe modify it depending on that.
It comes back to like RPE.
Yeah, literally.
Like if you notice that your training's feeling good, push the intensity. Whereas if you notice that you feel sluggish, you feel mid, just back off a little bit.
Yeah, obviously it is just RPE. But the other testing you can do really is like a dead hang is a simple one. This depends if you fried your forearms the day before, because then obviously you won't hang for as long. But if your forearms and your hands are relatively sore free, literally hang off a bar, and if you feel fine and you hang for as long as you usually do, CNS probably isn't burnt out, you'd say.
Yeah.
If you literally hang for half the amount of time and you feel absolutely knackered, it's probably a good indicator that you're pretty fatigued already.
Yeah.
Even like speed-based stuff, like if you sprint and you're sprinting the same times, a max vert touch, like everybody uses vert plates, force plates in professional sports to test when an athlete's feeling good or bad or performing good or bad.
Yeah.
You can do the exact same thing, like find a target that you can usually touch, and if you can't touch it, and it's like by a lot, you might be a little bit fatigued. Or like film yourself, and from the moment your feet leave the ground to the moment they touch the ground again, look at how much time it takes, and then refer back to when you're feeling good and how much time it takes when you're feeling good.
So many ways to training.
Yeah.
That you can like base on how you're feeling through your recovery without a watch. Or Whoop or whatever you call them.
Yeah, millions of ways as well, yeah.
But yeah, they're all really good ways. But I think just the best one is just ask yourself like how you're feeling.
But I 100% agree with that, but then you got some
Sometimes you do feel shit.
You got some weaklings out there that will
100%,
literally take a day off if they feel the slightest shit.
100%.
And then you got some people who are the exact polar opposite, and they just grind and won't stop grinding until they're dead, and they're literally like, both their legs are broken and they're like, nah, I'm fucking keen to smash out this session. That's when asking yourself, you got to be honest with yourself. So that's the main point of that, is just being honest with yourself. Because you can really take, you could subscribe more to like either side of that metric, and that can really screw you as well.
Yeah.
If you feel shit once a week and you take a day off of your planned training once a week, and that's 52 times a year that you don't train when you should have, that can have a negative impact on your progress. That's not a little amount of training. That's
a fair
52
bit.
days.
Yeah.
That's heaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to listen. You're right. You got to listen to your body and ask yourself honestly how you feel.
Yeah, and it just like, are you happy with what you're doing? Like, do you need to adjust anything? Are you going to sleep on time?
Yeah.
As long as you're doing everything to set yourself up to feel and perform good, like, that's ticking the box. But if sometimes you can obviously plan to go to sleep at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but then you might not be able to sleep, and then you can be pissed off at yourself when you wake up. But sometimes you just got to accept that you can't control it. Sometimes you just get those deep thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you just set yourself up to feel and perform good, you're on the right path.
Definitely. And you don't need a wearable to tell you.
No.
Don't listen to a watch.
Like
Don't let a watch dictate your life.
Yeah. Why listen to a watch over yourself?
Yeah. Unless you're psychotic and you got like hell bad bipolar or something like that.
Don't get me wrong, like, sometimes the watches can be really good for people, like, as a way for them to train, because, like, they see that it's like an achievement they can tick off, they can review it and that. But for the recovery aspect, I just don't think
it's a metric that you can use to guide your decision making. So we're not saying that it's absolutely pointless. Of course it's not. It takes a load of different metrics, combines them together, and tells you based off that relatively accurately how you're feeling most of the time. So it's just another metric you can use to help guide your decisions. It's not the devil, it's not useless, but it's also not God's dick.
Yeah, legit. Facts.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to sum it up.
Maybe not perfect. I've never heard God's dick used as a...
So I'm trying to get that image out of my head.
It's an SJ's then. But I don't even know who is God. I don't even know who God is, so I can't even think about it in my head. I'm just thinking of the Catholic God.
Yeah, long hair.
But there's obviously numerous different gods depending on what religion you have. So just try not to think about it. All right, question time. Remember, if you have any questions, just comment on our Spotify or YouTube, and even just DM us or comment on any of our posts on Instagram. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we love answering your questions. Question 1. Is the anabolic window real? Yes. It's real.
As in, like, how quick you gotta have... Do you mean talking about protein and all?
Yeah. It's real. It's real, but it's very like, over-exaggerated.
Really it's definitely real, but it's really over-exaggerated. Like, I remember swimming back in the day, one of my coaches was like, as soon as you finish, you gotta have your protein drink.
Yeah.
Or you're just gonna lose your gains. I was like, okay. Yeah. And I had, like, for ages, I just took that advice on. That's not bad advice.
It's
not...
Dude, it's not...
It's not going to affect... It's not going to be any negative aspect to it.
There's not a single negative aspect of having protein as soon as you finish exercising. But it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Like... Yeah.
If you're an average, just gen pop person, this is something that you don't even need to think about at all.
Yeah. The main thing is this... As long as you get your protein in throughout the day, across the day, however you have it...
Yeah.
Tick the box.
The times where this anabolic window matter, it matters like 1%, if that. So think about when that would matter. When that would matter is basically if you're a bodybuilder or if you're a professional athlete preparing for performance. That's the 100%. Only times where it matters. Like if you play for Liverpool and you have a technical field session on a Thursday and then you got a game Saturday morning, have protein ASAP once you finish training, because it's not going to hurt exactly like you just said, and it can have some slight.
But obviously all the professional sporting teams have nutritionists.
Yeah.
Like, there's a video the other day by, I think it was Manly Sea Eagles, and then the nutritionist was running through like what they're having. And it was pretty interesting. Like as soon as they finished training, they were doing like the field session. There was like all these different options for food, and they were like, all their players had to eat straight away pretty much because they were doing a strength session later on.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's like they have to eat that so that they can perform in the gym.
Yeah.
And so that's what obviously matters. But for someone who's just training in the morning because they got work at night, it's not that too big of a deal, is it?
It's not a big deal, but just
have it.
Good rule of thumb is just don't get hungry. Like, before you get hungry, try to eat.
But it does build good habits.
Yeah, it does.
Because then you can like...
It's like if you bring your protein shake to the gym, you train, and then you make it a habit as you leave, you drink your protein shake, you're never going to miss your protein target.
Yeah.
Because it's just clockwork. It's just religious for you to do that.
So it's not really going to do anything negative towards you.
It'll never do anything negative. It's just the part where you have to think, how advantageous is it? Like, how much benefit will you get from it? And the chances are basically not anything, unless you're a pro athlete, you're a bodybuilder, or like you said, you've got a session later on in the day that you need to back up. If you train twice a day, your nutrition does have to actually be on point, because otherwise you're just going to crumble.
Yeah.
You can't have a session in the morning and
If
then
you
wait
want to
3
perform-
hours to eat and then...
If you want to perform well,
yeah, you need to...
You just got to ask yourself like what you're doing and how you want to be feeling.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to prepare yourself and you want to feel good for that? Just get it in.
Yeah.
What?
True. So in a nutshell, is the anabolic window real? Yeah, I believe it, to some extent it is real. There were some studies that came out maybe like 20, 30 years ago. Also, this belief was hijacked heavily by supplement companies selling protein powder.
Yeah.
And that's why this became such a big belief over the course of the last 20, 30 years, is because protein companies found these little bits of research and were like, let's capitalize on that, tell everybody that they need to get their protein straight after the gym. And if you want to get your protein in straight after the gym, what are you going to do? You're going to have a protein shake or a protein bar, because it's just easy.
You can't cook a steak walking out of the gym, can you?
So that's it. That is another... Whenever you hear little things like this in terms of diet and supplementation, usually the actual supplement companies have a big hand in it.
Big say in it.
Yeah. Question 2. What's the difference between a trap bar and a traditional deadlift?
Obviously, one being that in a trap bar you're in a neutral grip position, your hands are by your side, whereas in a conventional, your hands are like a pronated grip.
Yeah.
Where the bar is.
So the bar in a traditional deadlift...
The bar is sitting across your midfoot,
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah.
and then the weight is a bit more in front of you.
Yeah.
Whereas the trap bar, the trap bar is obviously a lot easier because you're in that neutral grip position.
Yeah, well, because of the neutral grip position, the trap bar is like more so a hybrid of a squat and a hinge pattern.
Yeah.
Whereas a traditional deadlift, because like you said, that weight's out in front of you, it requires much more of a hinge. You can't squat into a traditional deadlift.
Can't.
That just doesn't work. So the main difference is that traditional deadlift is emphasizing massively the posterior chain, so the back of your body. So your erectors in your back, obviously your upper back's going to hold it, but more specifically your glutes and your hamstrings.
Still a bit of quads though.
Yeah, there is a little bit. Yeah, there is, but it's predominantly that posterior chain.
Posterior chain.
Whereas the thing with a trap bar is it can be manipulated so much differently depending on who is performing it and why they're performing it. Whereas a deadlift, you can't. You can do a straight-legged deadlift more so, but not really, more so as an RDL. Whereas a trap bar, you can get way more squatty, and it's basically a squat. You can force yourself into a very hinged position, so it's basically a deadlift.
It's that mix, eh?
So yeah, you can basically adjust that and manipulate that according to who you are, your goals and your needs, where a deadlift, you can't really. You can obviously perform a sumo.
You can't really tend around
where you
too
get
much.
more adductors, but that's it. I believe that a traditional deadlift is so much harder.
So much harder.
For a trap bars, the trap bar I like because you can manipulate it into whatever form you want it for.
It's easy.
Also, yeah, it's really easy. There's no like steep learning curve a lot of the time.
That's why like so many, like the skill aspect behind each one, like the conventional.
Yeah, the skill acquisition.
So much more skill based.
Yeah.
Compared to the trap bar. Like you see a lot of people in the gym that just do trap bar and they're lifting a lot of weight. But if you get them on a conventional, it's going to take a lot more skill aspect and the weight will be a lot lower.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why a lot of people just go straight to trap bar because it's easier.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I send most people to trap bar first as well, and then just try to get them to hinge using it, and then go into a deadlift.
But generally, a lot of the time, why people do conventional, it's just because they enjoy it and they want to increase their 1 rep max.
Yeah.
If they don't really have like that behind it, like a goal orientated focus, you're just going to do trap bar.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? If you're just trying to move weight as well, why wouldn't you just express force with a trap bar? But that's the main differences. The trap bar is so good because whether you're tall, whether you're short, like it doesn't matter kind of what body you have, you can manipulate the trap bar to work better for you. So a lot of tall people can't hinge as well, and they actually need to get into like a more squatty position, and so then they can just perform a perfect trap bar deadlift, whereas they couldn't do that with a standard deadlift. You're not getting like a 7-foot person to do a deadlift.
No. Well, you can, but
Might
not look too good.
Yeah. Question 3. Does holding tension at the midpoint of a movement matter?
Like time under tension?
Well, technically, yeah, but more so like a lat pull down, for example, at this midpoint, the reversal point where you can go from concentric to eccentric.
Yeah.
Is there any benefit to holding that?
Obviously there are a lot of, you can see the benefits to it.
Yeah.
But I generally I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather because generally if you're going to be holding it, that means you won't be able to do as many reps for a heavier set.
Yeah.
So I'll just opt not to hold it. There's obviously benefits to it for muscle in that aspect, but you're you would have to do a lighter load.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
Terry?
Yeah.
For a skill aspect, if someone's struggling to learn the form, you could tell them to hold it if you want them to get into the right position. But like for you, for example, if you're doing it.
Yeah, for a muscle hypertrophy standpoint, I don't see how it could do any harm. It could probably add a little bit to that if you paused every midpoint rep for a second.
But are you going to be able to go as heavy?
It depends on the exercise, really.
For a set of 8, for example.
Yeah.
In lat pull downs, if you were holding down at the bottom for a second.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do as many reps probably.
So like.
But then is the control providing better hypertrophy results? You being able to control that weight a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I think from a control, because the question is, does it matter? In the case of where you're trying to teach someone how to perform a movement, it matters there, because them being able to think of like a leg extension, them being able to get their legs completely straight and just holding that for a split second and then lowering, that's probably helping teach them the movement properly.
Yeah, great.
Same as the lat pull down. You pull the weight down here, you hold it for a second, you feel your lats engage, and then you raise it back up, and you also feel the position you're meant to get stuck into. For a skill
acquisition, really good. But for someone there's benefit obviously to it. For someone who's just trying to build bigger lats, there's benefit. But I'd rather just say just go heavier and just not hold it.
Yeah, I would as well. I just really like the control part.
It does feel good.
For teaching the exercise. And
Definitely.
Also, if you want someone to feel the muscles and be able to control the movement, then it can be good. Like if people do like deep squats and they hold at the bottom for a second with tension, that's really good for teaching people how to own that position. Yeah. How to own that position, really. Whereas if you're trying to build hypertrophy, like you said, you're probably not going to just chill at the bottom of a deep squat for a second.
One that for pausing, I find is bench. Like pausing at the bottom for a skill aspect.
Yeah.
Is huge. Like,
and it gets me sore as fuck.
Yeah,
because
you don't sore.
You don't use the momentum to throw the weight back up. You dead stop for a second, and then you got to really drive it up. So that's where it matters.
Yeah.
For
bigger lifts, I reckon pausing at the bottom is really good.
Yeah, and people do a lot of like mid-position pauses for like deadlifts and stuff like that, which I've never done, but that's where it matters. So that's where the value is.
Recently, one of my clients, for bench press, is one of his goals. He wants to increase his 1RM, but whenever it got heavy and whenever it would come down, he would never hit his chest. He would come straight back up.
Yeah.
And obviously you got to hit your chest. So then now we've implemented the 1 second pause, and he hits his chest every time.
Yeah, so that's where it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when it's really good for a skill aspect.
Yeah, so basically it matters for owning and controlling a specific movement or position. It's really good for learning how to perform an exercise correctly and feeling the appropriate muscles and appropriate areas of the body. And yeah, just for executing a movement better, it can be really helpful for teaching it.
Yeah.
But in terms of hypertrophy, probably not worth worrying about.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
You really got to worry about the eccentric part when you're trying to build muscle. That's like the main meat and potatoes. If you just fuck the eccentric part up and you don't actually have a lot of time under tension in that aspect, then you're not going to build as much muscle as to, on the other hand, whether you did have that extra time under tension with the eccentric portion of a lift.
And the fourth one could just be that people enjoy a pause.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy a pause, do it. Like if it feels good for you, just keep doing it.
Yeah. Because people always look at something from like a hypertrophy lens and they're like, oh, does this help scientifically, does this help improve like hypertrophy of muscles? But it doesn't have to be. That's not why something might matter.
No.
Something could matter for a range of different reasons, just like we just figured out then for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it matters. But mostly in those cases, I don't really see where else it would matter that much.
No.
But then you can also get into like full range of motion partials, which is a big thing at the moment, where like you get to that, say you're doing a bench and you get to that bottom end range of motion, and then you just like pump out partials of that, which isn't a complete pause, but it is working that end range of motion, which can be beneficial in some ways. There's lots of research on that. Exactly like when you do the calves and people say to
hold it
lower it all the way to the bottom and just kind of hold it or pulse. So there's some more benefits or why it matters sometimes to pause at the bottom of a motion.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a why to it.
Yeah.
And you're aware of why you're doing that. It's good. Do you reckon?
Agree.
Jump. Alright, over-unders. Exercise. Copenhagens.
Underrated.
Okay.
Are you talking about what, like the ISO?
Yeah, just the ISO.
What about dynamic Copenhagens?
I'm just talking about the ISO.
It depends, because like you just said the why behind the what, why are you doing things? Like why are you doing a Copenhagen hold?
To get stronger adductors.
Okay, and then I reckon a lot of people won't actually utilise their adductors when they do Copenhagen holds.
Yeah.
They'll usually have like their arse pushed back, they'll have like a divot in their hip down, like they'll be pushing kind of with their knee and not so much their adductor.
Yeah.
So it's underrated if you do it right, but then I just don't understand why people don't do it dynamic and they just do isometric holds.
It's like, oh, okay, we're going to do adductors. Okay, we'll just do Copenhagens.
Yeah, but I mean, I've done them in
yeah.
2 leg sessions. I've done isometrics as well. I haven't even done the dynamic.
Yeah.
But underrated because of that. But only in this S&C world, it's overrated as shit.
Yeah. 100%.
In just general training, it's underrated.
Yeah, I agree. Sport, Gaelic footy.
Gaelic, underrated as shit, like severely underrated.
Bring back the international rules.
They need to bring back they actually do need to bring back the international rules, and I think they might be.
Yeah, question. Bring back international rules or state of origin?
State of origin.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
players are wusses in that aspect. They're not going to give a shit about state of origin like they used to, or like rugby league does.
Well, apparently, for next season, it's one or the other. They're not doing both. Apparently,
in the middle of the season.
Nah, but I don't know about the international rules, but the state of origin apparently
will be in the middle of the season.
Yeah, because all the captains had to vote. Would you rather do Gaelic footy or
state of origin? They would have said. They would have said state of origin for sure.
Yeah, but a lot of people just think about that trip to Ireland.
22 people would, because only 22 people would get in the team.
Oh, they'd bring an extended squad, so they'd probably have like
40. Yeah, I think state of origin, if they could replicate how rugby league does it, that would be the best thing that could happen to footy that I can personally.
They want to play.
Yeah, they won't want to though.
No,
they won't want to play
because they'll do it in February.
Yeah, they won't want to get injured in February for the main.
But like the All Stars game, the Indigenous All Stars versus who was it?
Freo.
It'd be like that. Like
the thing is though, the Indigenous All Stars gave a
shit. They gave a shit.
Freo were kind of just.
Freo was Freo.
Yeah. It's like a practice match for them, where the Indigenous boys were they're proud Indigenous boys. Yeah. They love playing with each other, and they like literally fucking went out there and
dominated them. Yeah.
So if people cared like that, if it means something to them, state of origin would be the go-to. But I love Gaelic. I don't watch it much, but I do appreciate it, and it's quite similar to AFL.
I still remember the first time I watched Gaelic. I was like the proper Gaelic.
Yeah.
I was looking for the AFL goals.
Oh yeah.
Like the international rules. I wasn't as happy with it.
Yeah, I would love to play a game of Gaelic if I ever go to Ireland, if anybody wants to have me.
Okay,
for SJ's vlog.
Last one, the random one, dreaming.
Dreaming?
Yeah, like at night.
Underrated.
Yeah, great. You know, I actually had a dream that I was training a client and got him to do like hanging knee raises. And then after the session, you were just grilling me like, hanging knee raises is like the worst core exercise you can do while you're doing that.
Yeah.
And you was going ham at me.
I believe in that, to be honest.
And then I was just like, okay, no worries.
Yeah, random. I wouldn't do that in real life. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I know. But it was just, I remember waking up like, did that happen?
Yeah. I love those dreams where I wake up and I'm like, it takes me 4 or 5 seconds to realise that was a dream.
Yeah.
I love it, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I wish I didn't wake up just then.
You wish you just stayed in that moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed that experience just then.
Yeah.
Something that I could potentially can't get in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dreaming's severely underrated because it can be so good and you can have a nightmare and it can be so bad.
Yeah. But then you wake up, you're like, oh.
Dude, if you could sell dreaming,
how good?
Fuck, it would be worth millions, man. It'd be a multi-billion-dollar industry if you could sell it.
People want a quick dopamine hit, they just have a dream.
Oh, dude, people watch movies. Imagine if you can just dream when you want and remember it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but that's it.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Episode 6.
Done.
I'm pretty sure it's episode 6.
Yeah, episode 6.
Yeah, if you like it, please subscribe or rate or download our
5
podcast.
stars.
It actually goes a long way. We hit 39th on Apple Podcasts for health and fitness. Not anymore, but with the more ratings we can get, the higher we can get up and the more we can continue to do this stuff. So thanks heaps. Just remember, it's powered by SJ's community as well. So elite online programming that we use the same principles and philosophies on ourselves and others. You also get access to a group of pretty similar people wanting pretty similar stuff that you can help guide you towards your goals. And if you live local, we do group classes as well.
And it's all for $1 a day.
And we do like form critiquing. You ask us questions. We can actually manipulate your programming according to your current training status and goals. It's the real deal, and it's less than $1 a day.
Cheap as chips.
I don't know what to tell you. You're robbing us. I can't afford to eat tonight because I'm providing you this much value.
You can still get our program and buy dinner, and it'll be cheaper than most programs out there.
Oh, so much cheaper.
You'll save a bit of coin too.
And we're not selling sex. We're not selling sex either, so hope that helps. But thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.